Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups and relationship issues and limited beliefs. Doing it all. 10 reasons why people cheat. It's a good topic. I'm going to get into it today. A lot of these ideals about cheating might surprise you, actually. There might be a couple on this list of 10 that might surprise you because a lot of people just think it's two or three different things. It's a little deeper than that. And please, if you watch this video later on, put it in the comments below if you've been cheated on or you've cheated and you anonymously want to add something that I missed. All right, let's get into it. Ten reasons people cheat in relationships. Number one, morals and values. They don't find cheating to be wrong. Now, this might shock you because there's a large portion of the world that says cheating is absolutely wrong, even though it's been going on since the beginning of time and still is. There's people out there that believe it's okay, that validate it, that believe it's part of nature. And usually, the reason why they validated cheating and find it to be okay, whether they admit that to their partner or not, when they're in a monogamous relationship, they usually had a parent, guardian, aunt, uncle, maybe even an older colleague that cheated and there was no consequences. Notice I said consequences because if there was major consequences, for example, a guy cheats, it ends up in a divorce. In the divorce, he loses everything. He ends up in a small studio apartment. His wife gets the house with the pool. Okay, these are major consequences, right? Also, if someone in your sphere of influence, or like I said, your parents or guardians, cheated and it was just accepted. Now, this gets lost a little bit that there's people out there that actually accept cheating, that say, okay, that's what men do, that's what people do. I'm okay with it. There's certain cultures, maybe people in the States won't realize this, that actually it's completely normal to have multiple wives, and to have wife number two, not wife number three. Whether that's wrong or right in your book, it's still real, right? So some people accept it. And it's more accepted in different parts of the world than you think. So that would be a reason why someone would cheat. So you're with someone that it's been accepted in their culture, it's been accepted in their upbringing, it's been validated, they haven't seen a whole lot of consequences to it, and that could be one reason. Reason number two, it has been glorified to cheat in certain movies and genres of music. This is probably something that's not going to be talked about as a thing that you associate with cheating, but content consumption and what you watch, movie wise, YouTube wise, music wise, it actually has an effect on your behavior. So if an individual consumes enough of this content, they will want to be the character in the movie or the musician. So there's a lot of music out there right now. There's a lot of movies out there right now that promote cheating, being audacious, being flirtatious, right? I mean, Iceberg Slim, who was a pimp and wrote some books, is actually glorified in a lot of songs. And so, if the partner you're with listens to music like this or movies like this, and I'm not against movies or music like this, okay, because I can separate fiction from my morals and values, right? But there's some individuals out there that become the movie. And so if they're watching or consuming content that glorifies cheating or is making it look like it's a lot of fun to cheat, which some of these music videos do, um, then there's more likely a chance that that person will cheat because look at it. They're reflecting on, they're like, wow, that person's having fun. Number three, they work in an environment with lots of temptation. Now, this might be overlooked. For example, a bartender at a nightclub is probably going to be more likely to cheat than a grocery mart clerk. Now, this seems obvious, but people don't realize this when they're in a relationship. So, when you're dating someone or you're seeing someone or you're in a serious relationship long term, keep in mind what their job or career and what who they're interacting with at that job is probably going to affect some things. So, if they're more someone's absolutely gonna be more likely to cheat if there's more temptation and attention, um, in those office scenes, or like I said, the extreme case if you're a bartender. I actually had a client a few years back, and, um, I mean, her boyfriend was basically playing her. The guy was, the classic, he's got multiple girlfriends. He was upfront about it. He was playful about it. It absolutely hurt her, though, and he was a bartender in, I believe it was London or a major city. And so to go along with the fact she said he was really good looking, charming, said all the right things. She caught him cheating multiple times. He laughed it off. And then that's another thing is if someone laughs it off or they kind of aren't really sorry about it, they're going to continue to do it. So when you think about it, someone will say, "Well, what do you do in that situation?" Well, you have a choice. This is what's really interesting about it. You have a choice. You can accept it, like, "Hey, I wanna be in this relationship, so I'll accept the fact that this individual plays around." Some people do that, by the way. Or you can fight it and be like, "This is wrong. I wanna be the only one," but they're not on the same wavelength and never will be and never prove to be. So the other option is to walk away. And what happens is when someone walks away from this, they think, "Oh, was it me? Or did I do something?" No, this person likes multiple partners. They like to play around. They like to be dishonest about it. They find it to be okay. They've proven that to you. So let them be. You're not going to change people like that. All right, number 4. They have been highly influenced by single friends that they hang out with a lot. This is a big one, especially guys in their 20s, late 20s. You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Is this 100% true? No, but you know what I'm saying. They look at the single life and begin to envy their friend. So, friends that are single, or let's just even say that their friend cheats. Um, if you hang out with them enough, you're going to consume some of the things they do, and you're going to find those things appealing. So that they're more likely to cheat if that's the case. And what happens a lot over and over again, um, is clients will say, "Oh, it's her friend's fault." It's not her friend's fault. Okay, her friend is just going to be her friend. Her friend's going to do what she's going to do. The friend has no obligation to you. The friend doesn't owe you nothing. Your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner, whatever you want to call it, husband or wife, they have the obligation because you said you guys are official. Now, you setting up the boundaries, the rules, and regulations of that relationship are really important. If you're vague about it, right? But blaming the friend is not going to work. You need to have a sit down with your girlfriend or your boyfriend and say, "Hey, look, this friend's influencing you. Like being around this friend makes me uncomfortable." If they say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and continue to do it, people don't change unless there's consequences. So if you continue to just kind of nag a little bit and let it go, it's going to continue on and it's going to be more likely that person cheats. Is it possible for someone to hang out with a friend that's promiscuous and flirtatious and for them not to cheat? Absolutely. If their morals and values are high enough, absolutely. Is it more likely that they'll sway the other way if they're tempted? Yeah. Number 5. This is a big one, folks. Get ready. They drink alcohol a lot. I didn't even say alcoholic. Okay. Because alcoholic's one of those things. Some people go, "Oh, I drink 3 times a week. I'm fine," whatever. Define alcoholic or alcoholism however you want. They just drink alcohol a lot. Okay. I don't have stats on this, but I'd say an individual that drinks a lot and puts themselves in tempting situations is going to cheat eventually. Okay. So if your girlfriend likes hanging out at bars on the weekend, she's more likely to cheat, whether that's with her good friend, her sisters, whatever. On the flip side, if you drink a lot, eventually you might get cheated on because your partner is looking for a way out. And most people aren't highly attracted to alcoholics long term unless they're an alcoholic also. So drinking alcohol a lot is going to contribute to someone cheating. You know how it works, right? Alcohol tends to grease the wheels, it makes things easier, and, if that's something that your partner, girlfriend, husband, wife do in their free time a lot and do on their own in their free time a lot, then there's more likely a chance for them to, impulsively cheat on you. Number 6, you have told them it's okay. Someone out there's like, "What?" You told them maybe just in a conversation early on in the relationship, "If you cheat, I just don't wanna know." They may say in the moment, "No, I would never," but that statement will stay with them. So sometimes you're having just kind of this loose statement conversation about someone else cheating or your views on it, and you kind of slip out like, "You know what? I just wouldn't want to know." I've heard this one a lot. I wouldn't want to know, meaning that translates to the other person like, "So if I cheated and I didn't get caught, it's okay." So those kind of conversations that you have early on, maybe when your feelings are a little less tense, right? You planted the seed and you probably don't remember, but I've heard people do this a lot. They told him, "Oh, it's okay. I don't mind if you hook up with someone else." Number 7, they are really good looking, and you know if they're really good looking, and they get a lot of attention at their job or wherever they spend a lot of their time. Okay? People with more options are more likely to cheat. It's not fair. Okay? Professional athletes, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, these people, it's not shocking that they cheat if they have 100 options every day and every night. Now, someone said, "Oh, I would never do that." Are you in that situation? Are you in that situation? So, if you're dating someone that's really good looking, and I've had clients before where the guy feels like I'm a good catch. I go to the gym, I got a good job, I got this, but the woman that he's with is so good looking or hot to him that he's insecure about it. Because especially with women, I think even more than men, but maybe I'm wrong on this. There's gonna be a lot of guys hitting on your girl if she's really good looking, even if she's not, right? So you're gonna have to be able to handle that. But if someone is always getting hit on, at some point, depending on how strong their values are, they will cheat. Depending on how strong the relationship is, they will cheat. The job or environment they spend time in will play a big role in this. So, for example, if they're really good looking and they are in an environment where there's attractive men, let's talk about if this is a woman. Um, I've seen this many times having clients that are in a relationship where they're having an affair. No judgment because it happens. There's different circumstances for this. They're having an affair, and when they're having the affair, it's with a superior, a doctor, a lawyer. They're the secretary, they're the office staff. It's not a coincidence. So these kinds of arenas or environments, they're more likely to happen cheating, okay? Number 8, special circumstances. This might surprise you. I've had clients where through an injury or an illness, their partner can no longer have intimacy. They don't wanna hurt their partner, and in some cases, they wanna stay with their partner, and their partner understands and doesn't wanna know, but doesn't wanna know the details. So, in special circumstances like that, sometimes cheating goes on. Number 9, they have lost attraction for you and no longer have good intimacy. So, this is a narrative that comes up again and again where individuals are like, "What happened? I don't understand." But then when you talk to them in a coaching session, you get into it and it's been bad for a while, right? It's like we've only slept together once this month. Things have been different. I don't know why they lost attraction. In these cases, they are just hanging on till they meet someone else. So there's some people actually have a history of never being single. Okay. There's people in their 40s, 50s, they've never been single more than a week in their life. Someone's like, "Oh my God, how do they do that?" Because they monkey branch to the next relationship. But usually, okay, if they're able to do this, I'd say in most cases before they officially monkey branched, they had this person lined up. And there's a good chance they cheated with them. They definitely emotionally cheated, probably. So if someone has a history of never being single and your relationship starts to go a little bit sour and you feel it off the rails, don't be surprised if they cheat on you. Okay. Next one. You let yourself go. You stop caring about the relationship and understanding the basics of attraction. Hypergamy took place. Hypergamy is basically that a female will always want to date equal or higher to who she is in her own belief. So that's like I said, a lot of times someone will, a secretary would actually date a doctor or a lawyer, someone that they find to be a little bit superior. But if you let yourself go, and a lot of people are oblivious to this, right? You let yourself go. All right. You're not the same person you were when you first got together. They know this. You know this. You might be oblivious to this. You might be okay with it. They're going to be more likely to cheat. All right. We got some stories on deck. If you have if you have something that you think I missed on this list of uh, 10 reasons people cheat in relationships, go ahead and throw it in the comments. I'm curious about that. If you've been cheated on, why do you think it happened? Was it just because? Was it just unfair? There's usually more to that. That's why I went over those things. And it's more accepted in more places than you think. So we got a story on deck. Fun Sawa, how you doing? Aussie 411. It's been a while. I hope you're well. Miguel, always a pleasure, my friend. Okay, let's get into the story here. Coach, and we got two on deck actually. How you doing? I'm good. Thanks for asking. I got a breakup situation that's tricky. I'm in a breakup right now, but we still see each other and hook up. I'm 29 and she's 28. We broke up because we are always fighting about her flirting with one particular coworker. All right, so the good news is you got a specific problem. So this problem is actually fixable because you know what it is, you know where you stand on it, you're not playing games about it. You're actually fighting about it. So some people think fighting's so negative. A lot of guys would sit on the sidelines and be passive aggressive and be like, "Oh, I kind of don't like you talking to that guy." No, you don't like her flirting with this guy at work. You're confronting her on it. You're letting her know it's not okay. I mean, the extreme of how much the fighting is, I don't know. But going on offense and saying that you're not happy about something is actually a healthy way to communicate in a relationship. The guy is just a real jerk off. I know he's putting the moves on my girl. I know it. All right. I mean, how do you know? Because knows 100%, right? Um, and she's not into him, but she still goes to lunch with him daily. He's always asking her to join him for workshops on the weekend stuff for work. So daily's a bit extreme. I mean, if it's 5 days a week, even if it's 3 days a week or 1 day a week, yeah, that's a problem. Because even if the guy doesn't have a chance, and I'm visualizing some guys that I've worked with before that put in work on women and they're just friends, which is possible. He's going to end up maybe talking shit about you, right? Or putting salt in your relationship. Bottom line is it's a boundary for you. She works with the guy, so this is one of those situations where she can't just quit her job, right? So he writes, it's pathetic how much this guy chases her. I'm just sick of it. She says it's nothing, but why do you have to go to lunch with him all the time? She said she feels bad for him. Now, this is possibly true. Women will play the pity card for a guy, okay? Right? It's possibly true. And on the flip side, again, if this is against your boundaries in the relationship, then make it crystal clear. My problem is that I find it disrespectful, and the few times I've met the guy, he's cold with me, all the while sweet to my girl. I could care less if the guy likes me or not, but if he was really just her coworker and a friend, then shake my hand and make an effort to have a man-to-man chat. I agree 100%. I I would agree 100% on that. I've been in this situation before in my own life, uh, having a girlfriend that's attractive at a job, knowing that guys like her, being in situations where we meet up with her coworkers or friends, and I could just sense that the guy wants no part of talking to me, being cordial, and all he wants to do is talk to my girlfriend or be sweet to her. And that I agree. If it's really a friend, shake my hand, look me in the eyes, have some kind of chit chat, some kind of talk, recognize who I am, her boyfriend. That is disrespectful. Now, it's not your job to call that guy out so much, but to let your girlfriend know, like, this is just isn't cool, man. You're this guy's all over you. Now, I don't have a direct answer of how to fix the thing at work, but let's carry on this. He he sees me and his eyes look the other way and he'll just say hi and then look at my girl. It's so weak to watch. I don't really see this guy as a threat because I know my girl is still attracted to me. We see each other 3 times a week, and the bedroom life got better after the breakup. But now this week, she told me she's going to carpool. He wrote car poop. I think it's carpool. Carpool with him for to another city, and they have this conference they will be staying at the same hotel. She told me I can meet her there and we can have a weekend of it. It's a nice city. So that's huge. That she's inviting you to this place means that she wants to be with you. That tells me a lot. That tells me that she doesn't really have interest in this guy, and she's actually making an effort to show you that by inviting you to this conference in this city, I guess, on the weekend. On the flip side, she's going to be carpooling with this guy. The one thing you got here is if things go wrong with you, this guy's going to go all out, all in, most likely, and be her shoulder to cry on. Here's the good news, dude. Most women aren't attracted to guys like that. If she was attracted to him, she would have already cheated with him. You would have already saw the signs of it because it's not like you've seen signs that she's cheating here. So I'll have to fly as I can't drive up with her, but in the back of my head, I know this dude will be around. How should I approach that? I don't want to lose my frame or appear uncomfortable. It doesn't sound like you've been uncomfortable one time. It sounds like the other dude's been uncomfortable. The other dude has lost his frame. I'm okay that we are broken up right now because it feels like we are still together. So that's a problem in itself. So the fact that you're in this gray area and you guys are still hooking up, what's your finish line? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want to get back with her or do you want to stay in this position so you can mess around? Just be honest with yourself. If you want to get back with her, don't let this linger too long. If you guys are hooking up 3 times a week and things are going really well, don't give her the option. Don't necessarily make her a free agent for too long. At some point, at some point, do you want to get back with her or you want to leave this open? If you like the way things are, roll with it. Just know the consequences. She's allowed to meet someone else too. But here's what I'm going to tell you right now. This guy from her job, I don't think he's going to be the one, right? Just the body language that you just told me he has and whatnot, he's not going to be a threat. I understand where you're coming from about having a problem with the guy, but so I believe we'll move back in together at some point, but this dude needs to be addressed. What's your advice? So this actually might surprise you. I'm going to give you some direct advice. I'd say if you go up there this weekend, right? If you go up there this weekend, you go to this conference, you're staying with her in the room, right? She's invited you to hook up and be there. This might surprise you. Actually invite that guy to lunch with you and her. Invite him to come. Put him in your frame. Have him answer questions to you in front of her. If he's already uncomfortable with you when he sees you and he kind of likes you, invite him to lunch. Say, you know what? I want to know if John wants to come with us to lunch today. Ask the guy directly. Hey, and if he goes, oh no, I don't have time. Say, hey, no, man, I'd really like to sit down with you. I know you spend a lot of time with Karen, and I really want to get to know you. Now that might sound insincere, but on the other, put him on the spot, and then let him witness you sitting with her together. Right? Let him witness that, and let him see that you're in the picture still. She wants you. And then when you leave lunch, you're going back to your room with her, right? Put him in that situation. And I don't want you to put him in that situation where you're making a fool out of him or trying to fight him or anything like that. Just have him in your frame. Ask him some questions. Oh, yeah. Have you been dating anyone, John? Have you been seeing anyone? Oh, yeah. You've been single for a while. Oh, really? Interesting. Right? As you're sitting next to your girl, right? Now, this might be, you're like, well, why would I want to do that? He's the one that's uncomfortable being around you. Maybe you want to cement the fact without force, cement the fact we're actually together, dude. You're not going to scrap out on this, right? I'm here to stay. We actually got a room together here. You're not going to say that, but he's going to get the picture. Insist that he goes to lunch with you guys. Put him in a situation where you're not like you give him a handshake and a chit chat. You lead that frame, right? In that particular case, it might give him a little bit of a reason to back off. All right. And then when you talk to your girl, say, well, how long do you have to work with him and be around him and have a direct conversation? Ask her, how do you really feel about this guy? Ask her directly. Look in her eyes when she answers the question. You should know her better than I do. All right. So, and if it gets worse or you have a situation, book a live coaching session with myself, because there's probably a few things that you're not. People always write the stories, but they don't put in all the details. And then when we do a live coaching session, I actually left this part out. If you're leaving something out and you want to talk to me about it, I think that might be the best way to go. All right. So one more story, and this story is a little bit long. If your story's long, that's okay. Go to writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com, and send your story in or book a live coaching session with myself. All right. So, hi, Mac. Thank you for reading my story. Your videos have been really helpful for me navigating my recent breakup. Well, thank you for saying thank you. This situation has a few twists and turns, so it's a long read. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Get the details out. It's better to be thorough than not to be thorough. Me, 21, my ex, 25, broke up a month ago. We only dated for a short period of 6 months, but we're very happy and comfortable with each other right from our very first date. Well, that's how it should start. There shouldn't be any turbulence or problems in the beginning. 6 months is a short period. I would tell you probably 7 months, 8 months, you're still getting to know each other. Even if things are going well, there can be some surprises. Over time, our connection seemed to only get stronger, and I eventually introduced him to my friends and family who he got along really well with. We were best friends, never once fought in our relationship, and both expressed the importance of open communication with each other. Whilst I'd had previous relationships, I was my ex's first girlfriend and date at 25. Wow. The fact that you're his first girlfriend, okay, the first date, why is that? I don't have a problem with it. There's a lot more people out there that get started late than you think, folks. I've had plenty of clients that are, I'm like, I didn't start dating till I was 23, 25. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 28. Like, there's a lot more people like that than you think. I'm just curious why. Which did come across as a slight red flag, though he mentioned that this was because he was focused on his career. Okay. All right. And if that's true, that's true. There might be a secondary gain to that. Maybe this individual doesn't like rejection or something like that. But okay, if you buy it, I'll buy it. One issue my ex brought up with me was the fact that he has quite strict parents. Okay, so that might be a reason that he hasn't dated since he was 25, more than being focused on his career. Our ethnicities are, okay, I don't know if you want me to mention that. But you put it in here. So our ethnicities are Indian. And throughout our relationship, his parents would constantly be calling him during our dates, checking where he is. So this is why he hasn't dated yet, right? And just having clients that are Indian parents, not all, because I can't speak for everyone, they can be strict. He had to get his permission from his parents to do pretty much anything. His brother recently got an arranged marriage by his parents, and he told me that they are strict about who he dates and particularly have strict requirements of the family of the person he's dating. Okay, so a lot of people out there is like, oh, wow, how could you deal with it? It is what it is. Okay, this is a culture. This is a group of people. The good part of this is he's letting you know all this stuff up front. I've had clients before where they end up 2, 3, 4 years in a relationship with an individual like this, Indian also, and they're living in a different country than where the parents live. And then 2, 3 years down the road, when they're looking at getting married or taking things a step further, then the guy tells them or the woman tells them, hey, my parents are into arranged marriages. They're going to be a big part of deciding if you're okay for me. And you're like, where did this come from? 2-3 years down the road. It's good you know this 6 months in and he's being upfront about it. Okay, he's being transparent. That's actually a good thing. Eventually, as we were both very happy, he found the courage to tell his parents about our relationship. His parents were very keen to meet me, but mostly wanted to meet my family. So we organized a dinner and I brought my mom with me as my dad couldn't make it. Okay, the dinner with his parents seemed to go extremely well. I was really surprised at how nice they were, given the negative things my ex had told me about them. All right, well, people can be on their best behavior in public. Perspectives are different. So it's only one time you met in one situation, but if it was good, fine. But be a little bit skeptical moving forward, okay? Because your 25-year-old boyfriend knows them a lot better than you do. During the dinner, his mom told me I could come over to their house whenever I wanted to, and as we both like to meditate, she said we should go on a meditation retreat together. She also gave me a gift at the end of the dinner. His dad, however, seemed to be very apprehensive during the dinner and made a few strange passive-aggressive comments, which was a little awkward, but my mom tried to brush it off, being extra friendly. So there you go. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I mean, if this is how it's going to start, maybe the father's already in the first meeting out to dinner making passive-aggressive comments. Just to let you know, if this is the first meeting, this is probably going to be how he acts, right? He's probably an individual in his 50s up to his 60s. People like that don't really change. That night, I asked my ex how it went, and he said I did really well. However, the next day, my ex called me and told me that although him and I and my mother thought the dinner went well, his parents did not and completely do not support our relationship and asked him to break up with me. Sounds like that if the mom was that fake, that's unbelievable. It sounds like the dad didn't like it, told the mom what to do, and they made that decision. Here's the thing. There's a lot more to this story, and I'm going to read on. I've seen similar stories like this before. I don't know how you're going to win. Okay. It's not fair. It's not right. The situation that ends up happening in these situations is you break up and you might get back together, but the person is shamed by being in a relationship that their parents don't accept when their whole life they've been doing things for their parents to accept them, especially in strict parenting environments like this. So it can be very, very twisted. A good documentary to watch is called Meeting the Patels, about an Indian actor that is having a relationship. I won't go into details, but Meeting the Patels. According to my ex, his family had an issue with a few comments my mom made. Firstly, my mom asked them if they got a wedding planner for his brother's wedding. His mom took major offense to this and apparently said to him, how rich does she think we are? Does she even realize how much wedding planners cost? Well, that's one of those things. People can be a little sensitive at that age. But I mean, if that's a reason to not like your mom, it's absolutely ridiculous. My mom also said our family likes to outsource a lot of things. We have cleaners at home. My dad has a cook overseas as we are quite busy. His family took this as us not realizing the value of money and that we were too financially well off and our families would never get along with each other because of this. If someone believes that right off the bat, they're going to make it true. They're obviously feeling like you're superior to them already, coming up with these perceptions, interpretations. It's dangerous. It's just an interpretation and an opinion. And the reality is, if someone's not happy that you have a cleaner at home or you have a cook or your family's successful or dare I say well off, and they look at that as a negative, that's a huge red flag. Why wouldn't that be a positive thing? Right? According to my ex, these comments hit a nerve as his parents came to, I won't say the country, with no money and had to work extremely hard to get where they are today. Obviously, my mom never had any ill intentions to making any of these comments. Well, here's the thing. People lay booby traps, right? They already had it going into the conversation that maybe you guys were a little bit more affluent, had more money, did better than them. And so they're just assuming that, you don't appreciate money because we had to work so hard. That's what you said. So if you asked me, the mom and the dad are really insecure, and they're embarrassed by the fact that they don't have as much money as your family does. And instead of being honest with themselves about that, they're making accusations that you don't care about money and you don't know hard work. If you've only been 6 months in this relationship, just get out of it, because these parents aren't going away. I mean, I usually don't give direct advice like to just walk away this easily, but despite all this, my ex argued against his parents and said he wouldn't break up with me, although he was fighting with his parents ongoingly over the next few weeks. Following this, he constantly assured me that he wouldn't break up with me for his family, and talking to me was the best part about his days, as he was miserable at home. I've heard this narrative before, okay? And if he's still living at home with his parents, they're going to have his ear more than you do. And then they know which buttons to push. And if they're threatening to never talk to him again or disown him, the parents usually win. My ex started spending more time with me and my family the day before our breakup. Him and my family went to watch a musical together, and we were very happy. The next morning, everything was normal. My ex was sending me memes. By that evening, my ex texts me saying we need to talk. We call, and he tells me that his parents have given him an ultimatum. I didn't even read this story yet. Have given him an ultimatum that unless he breaks up with me, his family would break apart and his parents would not include him in the family anymore. I've heard this before. Went straight for the kneecaps. I mean, just the fact that the parents are using this kind of manipulative tactic is a huge red flag. No matter how close you are to this guy and how great he is at 25 years old, if you have kids and you have a family, he'll adopt some of these ways because he's entertaining it. So he has to break up with me. I asked my ex if we could talk in person. We do the fun. I mean, if you're facing, could you imagine that your parents are like, you either break up with this person or you lose your family forever? Now you're thinking like, oh, can we work on this? Not really, because you don't win either way. If that guy, listen to me, please. If that guy goes all in and you guys create a Hollywood drama where he leaves his family and you move in together, it's rose petals and wine glasses for a year. You're so happy. He's like, oh my God. And then within a year or something, the mom calls him up and gives him a pity line like, oh, you left your mom. You never want to talk to me again. Or the fact that those are his parents. I don't know if he has siblings, and one thing goes wrong in your relationship. Let's say you get in an argument, like relationships happen, and things aren't rose petals and wine glasses anymore, right? You get into this situation and you're like, shh, like, then he's going to be going, this is what he's going to do. He's going to pull out of his back pocket, I left my parents for you. This is what people do when they argue, especially when they're younger. They go straight for the kneecaps. I left my parents for you. Now if the relationship isn't perfect, it doesn't go right, he's going to be thinking, I sacrificed my parents and my family for you. That's why even if he walks away from his family and says, I'm not coming back, I'm not looking back, if this is love, I'm going to stay with you, I'm going to be with you. When you guys have a bump in the road, he's going to go, oh my God, what did I do? And have resentment. And he's always going to have this underlying feeling of guilt in the relationship. And so whatever you do from this point on, even if you guys get back together, unless you move to another country or move far away, it's going to be extremely difficult. And even if he cuts off his family, the guilt he's going to have to not be with them anymore. Okay. Now, on the flip side, he can call their bluff. I've seen this before. Like, look, if that's the way you really feel, fine. And they might be able to come around at some point. But to me, part of having a long-term relationship, especially if it sounds like you're looking at marriage, right? Marriage and kids, you are marrying into someone's family. Now, if they're close to their family and on the get-go, the first time you meet up, they're making passive-aggressive comments and judgments about your mom, like someone that can't even withhold a comment about your mom, that's a sensitive place. It's like someone, if I met a woman that I'm going to introduce to my mom, she's my girlfriend, and her parents make some sly comments about my mom's character the first time they meet her that are totally out of line. There's a good chance how's that going to work, right? In this meetup, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. We call and he tells me that his parents have given him an ultimatum. Unless he breaks up with me, his family would break apart and his parents would not include him in a family anymore. So he has to break up with me, ask him if we could talk in person, and we do the following week. In this meetup, my ex was very emotional and cried a lot. Of course. He's doing something against his will at 25 years old. His mommy's telling him what he can and cannot do. He told me that he acknowledged the breakup had nothing to do with me or my family and was entirely a reflection of his family's issues, and that he is trying to move out ASAP. That would be the first step. If he's let me flip this. If he's 25 and has not dated because he wants to work on his career, I hope his career is going really well, sincerely, and he's made some money and he's able to move out, because that would be his first step if he wants to break this chain. He told me he was hurt by how little his parents care about his happiness, doesn't think they are genuine people, and will shelter his future kids from them. However, despite this, he said his family is still important to him and he can't be with me if his parents don't approve. So here's the situation. He's extremely conflicted. What happens when you're extremely conflicted is you don't make a move either way. I would venture to say he probably doesn't move out. I would not buy that he's going to keep his kids sheltered from his parents. I think that that's an admirable thing to say in light of love with you, but he's been with his parents longer. So when he says he's saying two, it's like he's got a ping pong game going in his head. He actually needs professional help. I would like to do a live coaching call with him more than you. Some EFT, some hypnotherapy, some things to get to the root of these, because he has to accept that his parents feel this way and not fight it. He said he still wants to experience having his grandchildren have a good relationship with their grandma and grandpa, which makes no sense because he said he wants to shelter them from them. Like I said, he needs more help than you do. I would say that he needs to talk to a professional. He asked if we could be friends, even if not now, eventually. I said no. Good for you. This is not a friend situation. You had 6 months of bliss. You have your parents meeting his parents, meaning you're in a serious relationship. And because the parents don't like that your parents are well off, this is ridiculous. I said no. I told him I love him and would do anything from my side to make this work, including being kind and respectful to his parents despite everything. However, I wouldn't settle for friendship. Good for you. He told me he would try to have one last conversation with his parents when they come back from their holiday in the month and fight for us. His parents aren't going to budge. His parents aren't going to budge. They've already dropped the hammer and said, like, if you're going to end up with this person, we're done with you. They're going to keep their line in the sand. He needs to make a move on offense. He needs to move out. He's 25 years old. So he's probably mature in a lot of ways career-wise, but he's really lacking maturity in adult relationships. Like I said, I can help with this. I told him there was no chance it would work, but he said he has hope. We haven't spoke since his family is still on holiday. I guess I understand that whilst he is living under his parents' roof, the chances of our relationship working in these circumstances are slow. To be honest with you, even if he's living on his own, I've seen clients, they live in different countries and their parents of Indian descent go against the relationship. And they do this thing. They go back and forth like, oh, I'm not going to accept that. Yeah, I am. But when it comes down to the come down, if mom or dad says no and says, I'm not going to accept you in the family anymore. And this usually comes to the point when there's marriage. So like right now, you're not even talking about marriage. But let's just say he moves out. Let's just go into the future. Let's say he moves out. He gets his own pad. He's like, look, I got my own pad at 25. I'm doing great. Why don't you move in? Or we can start seeing each other regularly. We don't have to hide this thing. And then a year, 2 years, 3 years go down the road, and you're like, yeah, I want to get married. But all the while, he's been hiding the relationship from his parents, because that's what he'll probably do, because they're not going to accept it. So he'll go around it, right? And I like the idea. You're like, oh, I can be respectful and nice to them. You're going to be respectful and nice to someone that's talking about your mom the way they do. That's totally out of pocket. So I'm saying that's a nice thought. Long term, are you going to be able to hold your tongue? Come on. So even if you got 2 or 3 years in and then you want to get married, the whole thing's going to start over again. However, do you think he would ever eventually regret the breakup once he moves out and is more independent? Absolutely. He's conflicted. He wants to be with you. This is a really tough decision. Most people, especially in certain cultures like your culture, Indian culture, they're not going to go against their parents. It's just too hard. He doesn't seem to like his parents, so I would think he's eventually need to stand up for himself to be happy. But I'm looking forward to hearing what you think. I've seen this before. I've seen this many times before. You might have seen some of my other videos about it. And there's people, they get back together, right? Like they move out, they do everything right, they get back together. And then the parents start the gray cloud again and start saying, "Oh, I'll disown you," and then the guy breaks up again. The parent has one conversation with them, triggers them, tells them, "Hey, we're not going to be together anymore. We're not going to talk to you guys," and then they're out. So this is one of those things. He needs to get professional help, and I don't mean because he has depression, but like coaching session with myself, hypnotherapy. He needs to figure out what really is keeping him in the house at 25 years old under their rules. Now, people are different and needing their family's approval on a relationship. This isn't going to go away. And the fact that he had strict parents that he says he would stay away from, they still programmed him. He still takes on their morals and values in a lot of ways. So it's not that simple for him to just go, "Oh, I don't like the way my mom's acted towards you." It's not that simple. It's way deeper than that. Now, unfortunately for you, I would start the process of moving on and moving forward, which is difficult. I have compassion for you. You guys had 6 months of bliss. Probably if he gets his own place, he probably would say, "Oh yeah, come over, hang out," and he would probably keep it a secret from his parents for a while because he just doesn't want to address that. If you're okay with that, that would probably be the best case scenario. He gets his own place and you just don't let the parents know that you still see each other, right? But then if you ever want to get married, it's going to be a problem. Now both your parents know each other, so that's a problem. I just don't. And then on the flip side, what are you going to do to change the parents' mind? Are you going to have to be someone different than who you are for their parents to accept you? How does that make you feel? How does it make you feel that they're talking about your mom like this, or that you guys don't appreciate money? This is just the start. This is just the start. And just like you said, "Oh, the first 6 months we've been together, it's been so great, it's been so grand." And I'm like, that's exactly how a relationship should start, because you're going to have problems in a relationship, but the beginning should be ecstasy. It should be outstanding. It should be blissful, right? Because that's going to be your foundation. That's what you're going to work off of. But if you meet someone's parents and this is your foundation for that relationship, I don't see them changing. So if I were you, stay in no contact, stay in contact, stay to the no friendship thing. If you want to get back together once he gets his own place, but that would be his first step. And I would actually encourage him to get some outside help. And I don't mean that because he's whack case or something like that. He might think he's above that, but he needs to talk to someone about his parents and about what he's going to do as an adult. I'll be happy to do that. All right, we got 4 on deck, 3 likes. G Money, I'm May, Rob IS, always a pleasure. Remember, when you set the pace, you control the race. I like that, Rob. So tomorrow, I'll be back on deck. The topic will be Let's take a look today because I 5 deal breakers in a relationship. This should be a good one, huh? 5 deal breakers in a relationship. How about this one? When your parents don't accept me and make comments about my mom. That would be a deal breaker for a lot of people. All right, folks. It's been good. It's been grand. It's been excellent. It is curtains. I'll see you on the other side tomorrow. Late.